This is Cloudflare Pages. Anyway, this is so easy to do with any provider that has products which follow the same principles, such as DigitalOcean, Vercel, Heroku, and so on. So leave me a comment below if you're interested in a dedicated video for one of these providers as well. The requirements for the deployment service are simple. It must be integrated with GitHub in order to get your code and build it. It must accept a custom build command, and it must accept a custom output path for the build files. So this should work with pretty much everything on the market. Of course, you need a GitHub repo with all your code in it. So, since I never pushed any changes to a remote repo so far, I need to create a new one. If you already have your repo set up, don't worry, this is gonna be a quick process. I simply create a new repo on GitHub. It can be private, of course, and I can pick whatever name I like. Of course, I have to commit all the current changes because I never did it before. And in my case, the project is already a local Git repo. But if you downloaded the source code as a zip folder, you can follow the basic instructions from GitHub in order to initialize it from scratch. I have to remove the official origin remote because I'm not gonna work on that. And I also copied the suggested commands straight from GitHub. It's so easy. Please always make sure you're running the commands in the correct folder, and also check what the commands are and what they're gonna do. If you do something wrong here, you might end up with a completely messed up project. Now that my code is pushed to GitHub, we can move on to the Cloudflare's dashboard. This service allows you to publish static websites straight from GitHub in a matter of seconds. Let me show you how easy it is. From the side menu, I simply select the Pages product. The first time you create a project, Cloudflare is gonna ask you which plan you want to use. For most situations, the free plan is absolutely fine, so you can go with that. Here, I can connect one or more GitHub accounts. I already did that, but it's extremely easy. Then you get the list of all the available repositories on your account. You can choose the one containing your collection and begin the setup. In this section, we specify the project name, which will also be the temporary domain for the website. In this case, the production branch is main. We can choose a specific framework in case we're using one, but our dApp is a custom project, so we have to select none here. The build command that we have to use here is a new script that I created inside the root folder. It's called yarn build-dApp. This command will do a lot of things. It will install the smart contract dependencies and compile the contract. Then, it will install the dApp dependencies and build the dApp as well. Each step is mandatory for the dApp to be compiled successfully. That's why I created this simple shortcut inside the root folder. The build output directory is the path in which Cloudflare should look for the files to deploy. And it's minting-dApp/public. The other advanced settings can be left as is. We click Save and Deploy and let the magic happen. At this stage, the build might fail for some reason, maybe some timeouts or stuff like that. Don't get scared about that. If your project is building fine locally, it should probably build fine on Cloudflare as well. So you can simply rerun the build. Once it's done, you can take a look at the project. And here you can see the list of all the builds. We just have one at the moment. We can see the domain, and we can test it out. It works, it's already live. If you already have a domain configured with Cloudflare, and I really encourage you to use that, you can also create a custom subdomain for the dApp. It's really easy. We go to the Custom Domain tab, and we specify a domain that we own on Cloudflare. Cloudflare will automatically create a DNS record for your domain and set up the SSL certificate as well. Once it's ready, you can go to the custom domain and it's gonna work. Awesome! Now, one of the coolest features of this service is the automated build. So whenever we make changes on the repo, Cloudflare is gonna catch them, rebuild the app, and deploy that for us. Let's switch to a completely new theme. I want to use the pixel theme here. So I go to the main.scss file and I change some lines here. I commit my changes. And now we just have to wait for Cloudflare to get the changes, build the dApp again, and deploy it. Once ready, you're gonna see the new deployment on the dashboard, and Cloudflare is gonna keep track of all the previous builds. And you can also preview them. So now let's open the domain. I open the temporary one, and everything is updated. That's awesome. Now let's see what happens if we try to refresh the custom domain. You can see that it seems like nothing is changing. But that's correct. Our browser is caching everything because Cloudflare is using a powerful CDN and it's setting the correct headers for caching. So whenever you make changes, you might have to wait for the cache to be invalidated, or you can force that manually with Command-Shift-R on Macs or Control-Shift-R on Windows. There are also other things that you can do in order to prevent this. For example, you can purge the cache, clearing that completely. Or, if you are doing some development stuff, you can of course enable the development feature. This is gonna bypass the cache completely for 3 hours at most, and you can disable it whenever you want. The default cache value for a Cloudflare domain should be something around 4 hours, but of course you can change that. You can go to the settings and customize that to your needs. There are a lot of things that you can do on Cloudflare and a lot of options that you can enable or customize. But trust me, their service is extremely powerful, and it's gonna speed up your website by a lot. So considering the amount of features that Cloudflare is providing for free in most situations, such as the DNS service, which is amazing, the CDN, which is extremely powerful, and also this Pages service, which is extremely easy to use, this is why I decided to use this one in my video tutorial.